Hickok 45 here, your internet shooting companion, bringing you a Hawken rifle, 50 caliber anniversary model, 25th year celebration. But it is a 50, it's a Hawken, and that makes me Hatchet Jack, right? Before I got froze to a tree. Some of you get that joke, some of you don't, right? It depends on whether you've seen Jeremiah Johnson. But this is a 50 caliber Hawken, and one like what Jeremiah Johnson was so pleased to acquire from good old Hatchet Jack. But bought this at the Friendship National Muzzleloading Shoot this past weekend. So it's fresh, very fresh, and it just followed me home. You know how it is. You get out there smelling the sulfur, the black powder, and you see something you can't live without, and you bring it home and shoot it. So that's where I am. I ran across this. I've always liked Thompson Center Hawken rifles. As you know, I'll link to the earlier videos. And my first one was a 50. This one, though, had a couple things going for it when I ran across it. It's the 25th anniversary model. You know, they made these, I guess, in 95. I guess they made them all in 95. 1995 now. We're not going back into history too far. So from 1970 to 95. So they celebrated the 25 years of manufacturing these things, right? And then after that, things kind of started going downhill, I guess, for Thompson Center to some extent. Maybe they lost some business starting around a little bit after that, I guess. They had a fire, I think, in, when was that, 97? Big fire, destroyed a lot of records. It's hard to research some things because of that. They quit making them in 2012, as I understand, and sales had kind of fallen off. There were other models coming out of Italy and different places that were much less expensive. And even though these were fine rifles and considered to be, I guess, I don't know, maybe one of the best or the best production, you know, muzzleloading, traditional muzzleloader of the day. So anyway, they're just collectibles now. And so that's one reason it caught my eye. The other is, look at it. It's beautiful. Doesn't it catch your eye? Yeah, it's like new. It's like new. And it's got some age on it, right? So it's now 25, 26 years old. And it looks like it just came off the showroom floor. Before I brag anymore on it. Good. Yeah, like I say, the other reason I couldn't walk away from it, I had to negotiate a little bit, is I meant to have a little flashlight. I don't know if it would have helped. But I looked down that bore, and the fellow had I try to keep one of those. I end up not hanging on to them, but a really small flashlight that you can drop down the bore of, especially in muzzleloader. It's really helpful to drop it down there upside down, lighted, turned on, okay? Harder to turn on once you get them down here in the bottom. But anyway, you light it and you slide it down there, and then you look down the muzzle. I know that's dangerous. You could be shot by that flashlight. But you look down there, and it is just, it is glass, shiny, like chrome. This thing, I don't think it's been fired, period. So that was another attraction. I don't, you know, it's been a long time since I had a brand new, unfired Thompson Center. So anyway, I make a lot of excuses for bringing it home. Now, so what I thought I would do, we've done this a time or two, is just kind of show you what I do. This gun might not work, so this video might not work. You might not be watching this right now. I mean, literally, because if the firearm doesn't fire, excuse me, if it doesn't fire, it doesn't work, or the round balls I've got for it are the wrong size or something. I don't know. I mean, I don't expect any trouble. Maybe there's something wrong and the fire won't get through the nipple and the chamber and ignite the powder. Who knows? You know, until you try something. So I guess I'll have to send it back to Thompson Center if it does. Wait a minute, they haven't made these in a long time. So I was going to show you, I know I probably won't get as many shots fired, but I wanted this to be a little more educational. And I'll link to the others on these guns, and I'll yak at you a little bit while I'm doing it. But what I do is I just check it out and make sure it's dry. So one of the things I want to do, this pipe cleaner, some people think these are pipe cleaners, they're actually nipple cleaners for a muzzleloader, is just kind of make sure that's dry and there's nothing seeming to obstruct it. I can't get all the way around the corner either into the chamber necessarily, but you want to do what you can. And I'll run a patch. I'll be honest with you, I did run one patch just as a make sure there was no obstruction. So let's run a patch down through there, and we're going to dry it out. Now, this isn't all that different from what I do when I just bring a firearm out that I haven't fired for a while, muzzle loader, and just, you know, check the condition. How dirty is the muzzle? Is it dirty? Look at that. So that's very clean considering a muzzle loader. And one thing I did, which I didn't want to wait for it to dry, or I could have done, I could still do it. Confess, I ran a patch. The patch I ran down through here had some alcohol in it. Okay, so I wanted to make sure it was good and dry and everything, so we wouldn't have that to deal with if it's not, everything oil in it. And because I did put oil, it's one of the things I did do when I bought it. I made sure there was oil in the bore. So the bore should be dry. Let me make sure with the, yeah, that feels pretty good. Let's run that. Let's run a different one down, just to make. These have a little more. I don't know. It's really soft. There we go. Very absorbent. Smaller. Okay. So, all right. It looks clear. Looks clean. I haven't checked the screws on it. That one wasn't quite tight. I mean, 25 years is time to loosen up a little bit. You know, whoever owned this, or several people maybe, moved around, spent some time in safes, whatnot. You know, it's time for screws to loosen up a little bit. I mean, I've got a few screws loose, right? So time will do that. And I thought we'd just try it. Again, it's a 50 caliber. Generally, the Thompson Center takes a 490 thousandths ball. So I bought some of those because, you know, mostly I shoot 54 caliber and 58 caliber. And I bought some of these. These are 490. I got some different patches. These are 10 thousandths. These are 15 thousandths. And I'm not going to cut patches today. I sometimes do that. I have shown you how to do that. A lot of people do it with bed ticking or thicker patches and that sort of thing. But now, before I do that, I'm going to fire a couple of caps. And again, I wasn't sure. Some nipples like a number 11 cap, some like a number 10 cap. And this one seems to like a number 11 just fine. Most of them do. Okay, I'll slip one on there. Now, if you wonder why I'm doing this with no powder, yeah, it seems to be a good fit. All right, so what I do, some of you will think it's wasteful, but when I get a muzzleloader out, and this is a new one, what did I do? Okay. There we go. Okay, there's a little hitch or something. I've cocked it several times and didn't, I don't know what I did there. This one does not have a set trigger. Let's fire another one. I hit that watermelon. Boom. Now what am I doing here? Am I just shooting blanks, being goofy? Well, I'm always being goofy. What does that do? That makes sure it's really dry right between the nipple and where the powder is going to be. And I have been known to do this. So let's do it. I think it is pretty dry. I'm going to fire one more. I know it's a little wasteful, but oh boy. You talk about aggravation. If you dry ball one of these things, it's a pain. It really is. Kind of ruins your day of shooting. All right. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put a little powder in it. I'll just put a little bit of Dad's old powder measure out here. I'll put about 20 grains in there. It's going to make it dirty. Got some 2F Go-X. All right. Now what does this do? Why am I doing this? Why am I still shooting blanks? Well, for one thing, those caps went off, but that doesn't tell me fire's getting into the chamber for sure, does it? So let's make sure that's happening. And then we know we ought to be good to go. And again, I kind of do this whenever I'm shooting a muzzleloader. I'll just do this up in the air usually. There we go. I saw the fire. So it's getting through. It's getting through. All right. So I feel like I'm pretty good to go. So I'm going to run a patch down through there just to get that crud out. And you actually get more crud when you don't fire a ball, I think. You know, you don't have a grease patch or anything. Be careful, don't get that stuck down in there. It's been known to happen. Yeah, smooth bore. Well, it's rifled, but it's smooth. This is a rifle. This is not a smooth bore musket. These Hawkins rifles, they were rifles, okay? So, this thing should be good to go. Like I say, that's something I do basically with all rifles the more I think about it. So, I'm going to load it up. Can I do that? The one thing I did do too is I put just a speck of white paint on that front sight. As I noticed when I was sighting it, it took me back to my other Hawkins. I need to do that on my others. Okay, I should have done it back in the days in '74 when I bought my first one. So I'm going to light that thing up. Let's put some powder in. I'm going to go ahead with what I used to shoot out of 50. I believe it was 70 grains, if I remember correctly. A 2F. Yeah, these are cool old guns. I was joking about Hatchet Jack. If you've not seen the movie Jeremiah Johnson and you have any interest in this stuff at all, you would like that. Okay, Mountain Men, and all that. Robert Redford did a really good job in that movie. You might not like him politically, but he's a great actor, I have to say. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'll try the thinner patch, 10,000. So it should be almost too loose, I would expect. That's okay. I'm not trying to shoot, look at that deer over there. I started saying, I'm not trying to shoot at 300 yards. And the deer just trusts me. Here I am with a 50 caliber Hawkin rifle. And there's Bambi. Wow. So much self-control, right? Okay. We will be careful and not shoot Bambi. All right, where's my ball starter? Let's get that 50 caliber ball in there. See how, now this is what tells me how easy or big the bore is. That felt good, easy enough to load. Okay, I've got 50 caliber ramrod. Oh, I haven't marked it yet. But, tell you, a good time to mark it is like right now. Well, I know that's all the way down because it's so clean. So if I could find a knife, oh, there's one. Let's mark that ramrod a little bit there. I'll be careful not to scratch the barrel. There'll be plenty of time to do that, right? I'll just put a little notch, kind of scratch it a little bit. Okay, we had a nice boy. I bought that in 1974. Okay, so we got that round in there. All right, Virgin rifle, first shot. Let me put my ears in. Now the other thing I don't know is where the sights are and how they need adjusting. Hopefully the windage is okay. But you notice it has an adjustable rear sight. Don't know that Daniel Boone had one of those or not. All right. So what I might just do is shoot the cowboy. And I'll hold it right in the middle and see where it hits. I got that weird thing going on with the trigger there. All right. Hope I didn't tighten that screw too much. Let me get the cap off. That's what happens. You're learning a new gun. With a new gun. Let me hold the hammer and peel that off before I mess with it here. I'll go and get my pocket knife out rather than scratch up my bowie knife. My bowie knife. Cut that rascal off there. Okay. There we go. Now, okay. What I meant, doing with this trigger. Seems to be working fine. Don't want to force it. Let me lay it right here. Catching in that knot, all right. There we go. Okay, let me check the screw. I did tighten that up a little bit. I don't think that's an issue. It shouldn't be a problem. No, let's make sure it's fully tight. I would think it'd be more of an issue if it were loose. Tighten this screw. I tightened that one up when I was, on camera, didn't I? I wonder if that would have anything to do with it. I guess it would. No, just loosen that back up just a hair. I don't think that makes any difference. So we're all learning together here. It's not really necessarily great to drop it on the nipple, but I'm gonna, there we go, I'm gonna have to do it. Okay. Maybe that was it. Sure enough, I did tighten that, didn't I, before it started. I'm gonna loosen even a hair more. I'm so dumb. Maybe that is something you're supposed to not have too tight. I'm gonna do it one more time. Okay. So like I said, we're learning together. Okay, let's put a cap on this thing now. All right. Everybody will get upset if I loaded it to full cock, won't they? Well, I don't really care because I can't load it at half cock. People will just have to get upset. I'm pointed down range. All right. Now let's shoot the cowboy. All right. I don't think that's too far from where I was actually holding it, to tell you the truth. Okay, so we're not going to shoot it a lot, but we'll shoot it a few more times and maybe adjust the sights if needed. Oh, look at it. Isn't that atrocious having a polymer handled knife on this table? Quick, get rid of it. Put this down. Okay, I'm sorry I'm keeping y'all so late and it's taking so much time. But occasionally, I know y'all might like to have a learning experience where you can kind of help, or you can figure things out along with me. Okay, that's interesting about that screw. That was just a little too tight, I guess. Okay, 70 grains. Seems to be fine. This is 2F powder. All right, and I'm just going to stick with the 10 thousandths here on the patch. These I got some Oxy-Oak, some Wonder Lube or something on them. Yeah, Wonder Plus, whatever. And they're pretty easy to load. If you were in competition and needing the most accuracy you could imagine out of this thing, you'd want a tighter patch, or even for hunting, probably. Okay, that's called a ball starter. If you're new, we've got lots of videos on muzzle loading, various guns, my Civil War rifles and everything. Yeah, that short little stem is for just getting the ball started. It's really tight around the muzzle, and then you push a little bit further in, and you use the ramrod like you just saw me do. Okay. All right, I'm sure glad we figured out that problem. Yeah. I think we did. You know what? I feel kind of cocky. That thing seemed to hit right where I was aiming. So let's just see if we get the gong right where I'm aiming. We did. We popped the gong right where I was aiming. So we did a good job. All right. You all are part of the endeavor. You didn't get discouraged. Most of you didn't leave. Go get dinner. Let's shoot a couple more. Like I say, this thing, look at it. It's just beautiful. And I couldn't turn it down. I have to try to keep it really clean like this, and maybe the brass even polished. Normally I don't really care, just tarnished, that's okay. And it's okay on this one too, but that's just a beautiful gun. Just a couple little nicks just from being carried around, you know, in probably different gun shows or whatever. So let's try that again. So with muzzle loaders, as you know, sometimes you want, I don't necessarily have to do it right now, but you run a patch through there just to get the worst of the crud out. Yeah, nice and smooth. It's got a smooth bore. A smooth rifled bore. I'm going to stick with 70 grains of powder because it seems to work. I've not missed yet, have I? Not yet. Like I say, this is Dad. I got Dad into muzzle loaders, and then some of his reloading equipment I ended up with. Imagine that, and I just keep his powder measure alive. So, you know, I could try one of these 15,000. It's not going to be much difference. Might make me more accurate, right? One thing we ought to do, we set up some tubulars and stuff, but you know, when we're shooting a muzzle loader and I get to trying to be educational, you never know how many shots I'm going to take, what targets I want to hit. The 15,000s like this is probably better. It's tighter, maybe even 20,000s. Maybe 50,000s. There you go. See, and you got your notch there, so you can tell you're down far enough. Because I didn't put it right against the metal. That's good. You want your. That's the thing about black powder. It's not that important how much powder you use. You want your ball though right against it, so you don't create a pipe bomb, right? All right. Should I try a buffalo? I mean, if I'm going to be Hatchet Jack or Jeremiah Johnson with a 50 caliber Hawken, I might need to take out a buffalo. I can't see where I hit the gong, or can I? I don't know. So I'm going to hold kind of in the middle. All right, the smoke cleared and he's gone. That's the main thing, right? Wow. I know what let's do. Let's shoot the paper target, because I want to test the grouping capability of it. Yeah. How many of you were fooled by that? John was. He was waiting. He was tightening his ears up, right? Okay, so Hawken rifle, like I said, they I'll make sure one more time, but they came about, the Thompson Center company, in 1970, making these traditional Hawken rifles, and basically were responsible for the resurrection of hunting seasons and hunting with these rifles, as I understand. And I got into one in '74, so I was early too. I just fell in love with them, and they're just so popular. They're not an exact replica of the firearms like this that Samuel Hawkin and his brother, I forget their names, made. You know, in Missouri, St. Louis, they had a shop, the Hawkin shop, and I've seen those in museums. They didn't generally have a lot of brass on them, maybe none. But that's okay. It's kind of the style, the half stock I've always liked, and maybe with less brass, but still, this is cool, kind of a modern version of it. And this is the patch box for new people. Try not to scratch it. You know me, I'm not quite as much about babying firearms, but this one's so pretty, I don't want to mess it up. So what you could do here, like if I were going to combat or going hunting or something, which I don't really do, I could have some patches. Let's not put them all back here. I need another one to shoot a fire shot. So I could have some patch and ball in there, 2 or 3. I think that'll still fit and close up. See, so that's why you have it. Too much in there, right? But that's kind of handy. You know, one of these we found a flash drive in, didn't we? A few years ago. So just a beautiful thing. And you pull this wedge out. I've done that, I know, in one of the other videos. You pull the ramrod out. I rarely use this ramrod. If you're hunting, you would use this ramrod. You pop this wedge out with your fingers, not hard. The barrel, you cock it, the barrel just comes out, so it's easy to clean. You stick this end in a bucket of water, soapy water, and run the ramrod. Easier to clean than some other rifles. And just beautiful guns, and I sort of growed up with them. My early 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, and I still have some. I have the Lyman Plains rifle. I had an early Lyman's Plains rifle back in the 70s, and then had these, and had a Green Mountain barrel on one of mine. I still have that barrel, 58 caliber. You can change out the barrels on some of them. You have to make sure it's the same outer dimensions, but they're just beautiful rifles, and these have become collectible now, okay? Because just like anything that's not being made now any longer, it becomes collectible if it's anything desirable, right? So we'll shoot again. I just had to bring this thing to you today, and probably get it out again sometime. I'll get all my muzzle loaders out again sometime. I miss it. This kind of weather really makes you want to shoot this kinds of stuff. And again, if you never tried a muzzle loader, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You're going to risk being considered a mall ninja. You don't want to do that. Don't want to be that. Here, I'm about to get 2 patches, so I'm not careful. Okay, 50 cal. This is a very popular caliber in the muzzleloading world. You probably already know that. Whether it's a modern inline, which we did a video on those. I don't want to be a gun bigot. I got one of those and did a video on it. A modern inline muzzleloader. It was 50 caliber, as I recall. So it's a popular caliber for any era, right? Even the modern ones. But these are a load of fun. And you don't have to be a genius, obviously, or I couldn't do it, to learn how to load them and take care of them. You just want to be safe and keep your powder away from where you're firing generally. And these are number 11 caps, it seems to like, okay? So, what should I shoot on maybe the last shot? I killed the gong and a buffalo, but I haven't killed this watermelon. Oops, excuse me. I offended somebody. I said killed. I have not shot the watermelon. So let's do that, and then I might let you all get to dinner. Good old 25th anniversary of the 50 cal Hawken. All right, Hatchet Jack, this one's for you. That's for you, Hatchet Jack. I'm so sorry you got froze to a tree because of that bear that tried to eat you. So, yeah, hard to beat. I know some of you would not agree. Some of you who have fired these would agree. Actually, some of you who have never tried these would probably agree. You just haven't gotten around to it. You plan to someday. And if you really are a true firearms enthusiast, there's some lure here. I guarantee you there's some lure, as there are with a lot of firearms and endeavors, that you may try out someday. So I do highly recommend that they make these Traditions. You can find them, at some of the big box stores, your local gun shops, just anywhere online. They're not as expensive as the old Thompson Centers because they have become a little collectible. But there's some that are just fine, for what we're all generally doing with them. You might want one that's a little more traditional. Like I said, I don't think Daniel Boone had a sight like that would adjust with a screwdriver, windage and elevation. But that does enable, you could replace that with a buckhorn sight, more traditional sight, but it does allow you to have more flexibility if you want to hunt with it. And I messed with it a little bit. It was a little bit higher than that. I cranked it down just one turn or something. I don't know why. I don't know, because it doesn't matter. I'm going to shoot it and see what it needs. But so far, I don't know that it needs anything. So good old 50 caliber Hawkin rifle, just like the one Hatchet Jack got froze to the tree with. Glad y'all came by to view its maiden voyage, and yeah, it seemed like it's going to be a good one. Once I figured out that screw was too tight, and guess why it was too tight? as you saw me, I think, didn't I? Before I fired it, tighten it. That's why you need to go to SDI and become a gunsmith, right? Life is good.
Oh yeah, that's better. This is a great gun for defense. Oh hey, didn't see you guys there. While I've got you here, I want to remind you of our friends over at Talon Grips and Ballistol. Talon Grips makes grips, can you believe it, for all different types of firearms. You can get rough texture or more of a rubberized texture. It just sticks right on there. You know, really affordable, really cool option to improve the grip for your handguns or rifles. So please check them out at talongungrips.com. You'll be glad you did. And also Ballistol. Dad has been using Ballistol for many years. It's a cleaner and a lubricant, and it's non-toxic. It works really great, and we're happy to have them on board since it's been a part of our shooting endeavor for a very long time. So go to ballistol.com, talongungrips.com. And also, while you're out there, I'm juggling all these things here. Also, while you're on the internet, please do check out our other social media like Hickok45 on Facebook. There's also Hickok45 on Twitter, The Real Hickok45 on Instagram. There's a John_Hickok45 on Instagram where I do some things. There's Hickok45.com. You can find us also on Gunstreamer. So check out all that stuff and then watch more videos.